Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the financial secrets of the world. And in this filing, we are diving into something that might sound a little grim, but could be a game changer for heart patients everywhere. Alright, buckle up because we are dissecting Picard Medical Incorporated's latest SEC filing, a company that is making waves in the medical device world, especially with their artificial heart technology. But what does their financial story really tell us, and what are the risks involved in this groundbreaking field? Before we begin, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you are subscribed. We break down these complex reports so you can understand where your money could potentially be going. And by hitting that subscribe button, you are letting us know you want more of this content. And hey, if you want to connect with fellow financial enthusiasts and get even more exclusive insights, join our Discord community, link down in the description below. This filing is an amendment to a registration statement Picard wants to make public now. That is a fancy way of saying they are getting ready to sell more of their company stock to the public, a process that usually comes with a lot of strings attached and a lot of scrutiny. This prospectus relates to the offer and resale from time to time of our securities. By the selling stockholders, we are not offering any securities under this prospectus, and we will not receive any proceeds from the sale of securities by the selling stockholders. So what is the big picture here Picard Medical manufactures? The Syncardia Total Artificial Heart, which is pretty incredible. It is the only implantable total artificial heart approved by the US Food and Drug Administration and Health Canada for patients waiting for a heart transplant. But here is where it gets interesting. This filing is not about Picard selling new shares to raise money for itself. Instead, it is about existing shareholders. DAS is typically those who provided funding earlier on, such as investors who bought their senior secured notes and warrants selling their shares to the public. On December 24, we entered into the purchase agreement with the selling stockholders, pursuant to which we agreed to issue and sell, in a private placement exempt from registration under Section C of the Securities Act and Rule Wooly B of Regulation D senior secured notes. Due. And warrants to purchase shares of our common stock. This essentially means they got some money by issuing notes and warrants, which are like promises to sell stock later on. Now, those investors want to sell the stock. They are entitled to get through these notes and warrants, and the company is helping them do that by registering these shares so they can be sold legally on the open market. Let's peek at what is inside this document so we know where to focus. Alright, the summary is a good place to get the gist of things. The company is Picard Medical Incorporated, and most of its business is done through Syncardia Systems LLC. They make the Syncardia Total Artificial Heart, or STAR, as it is known, a device that is really a bridge to heart transplantation for patients with severe heart failure, to date over 2,100 AVA. Our devices have been implanted in patients across 27 countries. This is a serious and life-saving piece of technology, and it is their core product. Their strategy is clearly focused on innovation. They are working on a next-generation, totally implantable heart called Emperor, and upgrading their current driver technology. This is a company that is investing heavily in the future of their products. Now, we always have to talk about the risks because this is where you see the potential pitfalls for investors. Let's really dig into what could go wrong. This is always a flashing red light for any company. Picard Medical has experienced significant net losses, and they expect to continue to do so for a while. This is not unusual for a company in the medical device space investing heavily in research development and regulatory approvals. But it means profitability is not immediate. Their revenue comes from a few key products: the Syncardia TAR and driver rentals. This is a concentration risk. If sales of these products dip, for any reason, their whole business could be in trouble. Making these devices is not like baking cookies. It requires highly trained people and specialized skills. If they have trouble producing enough devices on time, their results will suffer. This is a biggie. They rely on specific suppliers for parts, and if those suppliers have problems like stopping production or going out of business, Picard could be in serious trouble without other options. This dependence is a significant vulnerability. Even with approvals, doctors and hospitals might not adopt their technology. It takes time to change medical practices and convince people that a new device is better than existing options. As with most stocks, especially in the medical field, price swings are expected. They mentioned that their share price can be volatile and investors could lose money. This is standard but important to remember. This is probably the most concerning risk they mention their own. Auditors are saying there is doubt about whether the company can keep operating for the next year. This is a massive red flag. It means they might not have enough money to survive without further funding, and that is a huge risk for any investor. Let's look at the numbers associated with this offering. The selling stockholders are looking to sell up to 17 million shares. This is what is being registered for resale, and it includes shares from exercised warrants and shares from converted notes. It is a large number and could put pressure on the stock price. Before this offering, they had over 73 million shares out there. If all those 17 million shares get sold, that is over 90 million shares outstanding. This is a significant increase and means existing shareholders will see their ownership percentage diluted. This is a critical point. Picard Medical itself is not selling any shares in this offering, so they will not receive any money from the sale of these 17 million shares. The money goes to the selling stockholders. The company might get money if investors pay to exercise warrants, but that is not guaranteed. This is where we get the nitty-gritty on their financial performance. Let's look at the numbers for the year ended the 31st of December. Their product revenue dropped in 2024 to about $4.3 million from over $4.9 million in 2023. That is a decrease of about 14%, not ideal. Now look at their cost of revenues for products that dropped dramatically from over 4.9 million down to 2.5 million. That is almost cutting their cost in half. This helped them improve gross profit significantly, but remember their overall revenue dropped as well. Even with the cost reduction, they ended up with a gross loss of $112,000 for 2024. This means they are spending more to produce their goods than they are earning from selling them. When you add in their operating expenses like research and development and selling general and administrative costs, their operating loss was over $13 million. That is a big number. And then there is the interest on their debt, which jumped significantly to over $3 million in 2024 compared to just $140,000 in 2023. This is likely due to new loans being taken out. Putting it all together, their net loss for 2024 was over $21 million. This is a big increase from their net loss of about $15.6 million in 2023. It shows they are burning through cash fast. Let's quickly check the most recent period, the first 9 months of 2025, compared to the same period in 2024. Their total revenue went up to nearly $4 million in the first 9 months of 2025 from about $3.6 million in the same period of 2024. That is an 11% increase, which is good news. But look at their cost of revenues for products. It jumped up by over $600,000 or 26%. This means their costs are growing faster than their revenue. This pushed their gross loss higher to over $600,000. And their other expenses, including interest and derivative losses, absolutely exploded from just over $2 million to over $12 million. This is driven by their financing activities, mostly the convertible notes. Their net loss for the first 9 months of 2025 reached over $22 million, a huge jump from about $12 million in the same period last year. Ouch. Now let's look at how much cash they are actually using or generating. Operating activities used over $11 million in cash for the first 9 months of 2025. This is money spent to run the core business. Where is the money coming from? Well, financing activities provided over $14 million. This is from issuing stock and taking on more debt or convertible notes. It is good they are getting cash, but they are essentially borrowing or selling pieces of the company. To stay afloat, that IPO in September 2025 seems to have brought in some much needed cash. These notes contain the fine print and crucial details about their finances. This section is a direct and honest assessment from the company itself. They admit they have incurred operating losses and negative cash flows. They expect this to continue and need more financing to survive this. Reinforces the going concern issue raised by their auditors. This is a standard disclaimer. It means the financial numbers you see are based on the assumption they will continue operating. But if they don't, those numbers could change dramatically. Looking at their property and equipment shows their inventory has grown significantly from $6.9 million in 2023 to over $8 million in 2024. This could be a sign of increasing production or slower sales. We need to keep an eye on that. And notice their allowance for excess and obsolete inventory also went up. This means they are writing off a larger portion of their inventory as potentially unsellable, a potential sign of overproduction or changing market demand. This is a big one. They owe a lot of money to related parties, specifically over $5 million at the end of 2024. This refers to loans from people connected to the company like directors or their affiliated funds. It is common for early stage companies, but it can also create conflicts of interest. This number is huge, over $14 million in convertible notes, payable at the end of 2024. These are loans that can be converted into company stock. Later on, this adds more potential dilution for existing shareholders. And then there is this derivative liability of over $6 million at the end of 2024. This likely relates to complex financial instruments tied to their convertible notes, and it shows the financial engineering happening behind the scenes. When all is said and done, the net loss attributable to common stockholders in 2024 was over $23 million. This highlights how much equity is being eroded by losses. Fast forward to September 2025 and they completed their IPO raising $17 million. This was crucial for them. It significantly increased their cash and common stock outstanding. Also in July 2025, all their preferred stock was converted into common stock. This is generally a positive development as it simplifies their capital structure. Now for my take on Picard Medical Incorporated from what I see here. Picard Medical is operating in a critical and potentially revolutionary field, the artificial heart market. Their technology has a proven track record with over 2,100 plants, and they are investing in future innovations like the Emperor Heart. This shows ambition and a belief in their product. However, the financial picture is concerning. The company has a history of significant losses, burning through millions of dollars each year. They rely heavily on external financing, including significant debt and convertible notes. And a lot of this comes from related parties, which can be a double-edged sword. The auditors themselves have raised a red flag about their ability to continue as a going concern, which is a serious warning sign. The recent IPO and the conversion of convertible notes and preferred stock are positive steps that brought in much needed cash and simplified their structure. However, the market is competitive with other companies developing advanced heart technologies, and regulatory approvals are always a significant hurdle. The biggest risk for investors right now is the significant cash burn and the uncertainty surrounding their ability to achieve profitability without further dilutive financings. Their strategy relies on developing groundbreaking technology and gaining market acceptance, which comes with substantial operational and financial risks. For me, Picard Medical is a high-risk, high-reward play. The potential to save lives and capture a significant market share is immense, but the path to profitability is fraught with financial and operational challenges. Investors need to be very comfortable with the risk involved, especially given the current cash burn and the going concern issues. Alright, that is our deep dive into Picard Medical Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think they have what it takes to overcome these challenges and succeed in the artificial heart market? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into the financial world. Don't forget to check out our Discord community in the description for more discussions and ins. Alright, thanks for watching Corporate Decoder, and we'll see you next time.